Have you ever thought of something to write about, then felt stuck as soon as you went to write it? Well, me too. So today I'm gonna give you my best tips to write a college application essay that can connect with your readers and read the Common App essay that I wrote to help me get into Stanford, USC, Vanderbilt, and more. Please keep in mind that I'm not a college admissions expert. These are just tips that I believe really help me out. My first tip is to cut on action. This is a trick that filmmakers use when they're editing their movies to make them more exciting, but it can also be applied to your essay, especially in the intro. This basically means that you're starting off your essay in the middle of an exciting event. What this does is it catches the reader's attention immediately, brings more excitement to your essay, and also makes it stand out right off the bat. I guess it's not technically cutting on action, it's more like opening on action, but I wanted a catchy name, so but anyways, I think this really helped my essay jump out, and you'll see how I used it in just a little bit when I read it. My second tip is to strike a balance between personal and informational. So what this means is that instead of having your essay be like 95% about one of your accomplishments or 95% about your personal development journey, you should try to mix a better blend between the two in a way so that they're still cohesive and they flow nicely. I think that this perfect blend is a hard thing to accomplish because a lot of us, including myself, when we start writing our essays, we get so deep into one path that we kind of neglect the other. So one thing that we can do is to take a step back and then look at our essays as a whole and honestly try to assess whether or not we have too much about our accomplishments or too much about our personal experiences, and then find a way to incorporate more of the other one into the essay. Hopefully that made sense. My third tip seems kind of counterintuitive, but I think it helped a lot, and it's to forget everything you learned in English class. This is honestly a weird tip, and don't literally forget everything you learned in English, but for the purposes of this essay, take all that stuff and toss it in the trash. The reason I say this is because your personal statements are meant to be just that. They're meant to be personal to you, and by using things like personal pronouns that you normally wouldn't be able to use, you're making the story that you're writing more relatable to you, and the reader will definitely see that come through. You also don't have to follow the structure of a traditional research-based essay. Your personal statement is meant to be more story-oriented, so it's definitely okay to play around with the structure and be creative with it. And my last tip is probably the most important one, and it's to demolish the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you're finding this video helpful. Alright, so now it's time for me to read my essay. God, this is gonna be so weird. Alright, here we go. Introducing our youngest speaker. My breathing stops. You're not gonna believe what he has to say. Each step feels like forever. Please give a hand for... As I walk on stage, I'm met with the host's smile. Alona Minkovsky from Forbes 30 Under 30 leaves the stage so I can speak at a TED event. Me. How did this happen? Son, did you know they're planning the first full head transplant? My dad says one summer night as we drive home. Questions immediately race through my 14-year-old mind. Who would consent to that? What would the patient feel during the operation? My fascination with medicine begins. This interest quickly fills my life. My Google feed changes from video game updates to cancer and sleep studies. Every free second, I'm learning about how polio could be used to fight cystic fibrosis, or the changes that meditation can have on brain chemistry. People need to know about this, but how can I tell them? Then it strikes me. Podcast. So I developed Scrubcaps, a health and medical podcast to help people learn about their well-being. I start by producing episodes on my phone, talking about things like Lyme disease in Rhode Island. With no experience and a lack of resources, I record in my closet where the clothes absorb background noises. It's not ideal, but I can't stop. I'm having too much fun. Soon, I have a microphone, and I teach myself how to get onto iTunes and Spotify. I need to learn more. My curiosity leads me to new people and ideas that expand my knowledge. Talking to award-winning actor and author Tristan J. Miller, I learned how bipolar disorder can affect the mind, trapping patients in cycles of mania and depression. Interviewing Robert Bednarz, a practicing doctor in Scotland, I learned about the genetic similarities between COVID-19 and SARS to tell others how to best prevent infection. A year of producing episodes zooms by. I'm having the time of my life. I'm overjoyed when local teachers use the show in class to help students. Eventually, it reaches listeners in 69 countries and is downloaded over 5,000 times. Soon, it trends on Chartable's top 210 science podcasts in Australia. The show is now a place where a diverse group of people can learn about their health. That is what excites me the most. One morning, as I check Gmail, my heart skips. Amina, curator of TEDx Sky Forest, California. Speak for us, the subject line reads. Me? Speak? I submitted an inquiry to volunteer at the event, and we had a blast talking about my podcast, but I didn't expect an invitation to speak. My fingers fly across the keyboard. I would love to. I choose to talk about natural chromotherapy, how light frequencies and color from nature can affect our health. Ever felt glum during an overcast day? That's because the clouds block the blue skies that brighten your life. It's a health topic I've been researching late at night for over a month. This is the perfect way to share it. When preparations begin, my responsibilities as a TEDx team member escalate. I meet with professional speakers, figure out how to deliver my talk effectively by anchoring my voice, and teach the team mouth warm-ups I've learned from podcasting. On my family's vacation to Indonesia that year, I organized and led team meetings and rehearsals. Despite the 14-hour time difference, however, it doesn't feel like work. This is my vacation. After months, the occasion arrives. I'm met with the audience's applause as the host introduces me. Walking on stage, one question penetrates my thoughts. How did this happen? My journey flashes through my brain. I first started in a crude, self-constructed studio. Now I'm reaching hundreds of people live from a professional stage. As fast as the question appears, it vanishes. Then, the first words escape my mouth, and pure joy consumes me. Alright, so that was my essay. Reading it again, it's definitely pretty cringy, but that's okay. It's going to be weird trying to write about yourself to sell colleges on you, so don't worry if it feels weird if you were proofreading your essays. You can see how I started by cutting in on the action, by having my essay start out with me walking on stage and what I'm feeling as I'm doing so, and I think that brought more attention to the readers, and I'm hoping it kind of helped my essay stand out a little bit. I also tried to find that balance by incorporating like the numbers, like how many listeners I had on my podcast, but also talking about what I learned from these experiences to kind of mix that personal and informational aspect of my essay. And yeah, I also tried to play around with the structure of my essay, so I started with the end event of my essay, then I jumped back in time to like how I got to that point, and then I finally ended back at that point and kind of gave the resolution there. I don't know if that made any sense. I'm sorry if it didn't. But yeah, that's what I tried to do. Anyways, I hope my essay gives you some inspiration. I really believe that with a little bit of creativity and hard work, everyone has a unique story to tell, and they can make amazing essays that really stand out to the admissions officers. If you want to know my stats and extracurriculars, click on this video, and if you want to see more college content, please consider subscribing.